What's up, everybody? Welcome to PS I Love You, episode 30. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the Pride of Long Island, Colin Moriarty.
It's good. I would say it's good to be here with you today, but I'm just very tired right now. I'm sun-soaked right now.
But that's the thing somebody pointed out last time, is every episode of PS I Love You begins with you saying you're tired right now. Yeah. So you're never energized, so I think you're
just
happy
we
as
record it too late, you know? Like, we gotta record it quicker.
We gotta record it quicker, not earlier?
Earlier,
but
quicker.
Sure.
Make it 10 to 15 minutes long.
10 to 15, just breakouts, just to do a breakout of what the show's supposed to be. Okay, I understand what you're doing. Ladies and gentlemen, you might have noticed we're not in the Kind of Funny studio. We are recording on location in Austin, Texas, from Rooster Teeth. We came down here, did a bunch of shows with them. Or not shows, I guess, just one bunch of different videos that you'll one day see that we're not at liberty to talk about yet, but cool content for you. But of course, Colin, as you know, every episode of PS I Love You, XOXO, post Tuesday at 9 a.m. Will we one day miss a Tuesday at 9 a.m.? Of course we will. This week is not it, though. And remember, the plan is always, if we're going to miss it, you go there and it's not there on YouTube, it's not there on your MP3 server, go to twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. Maybe we're doing it there. Or just go to Twitter. We've probably talked about it at that point. Something's happened.
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen,
right?
If you didn't know, this is PS I Love You, XOXO. It's the number one PlayStation podcast on the internet. It is kindoffunny.com's PlayStation podcast, so go there, watch all the videos, watch the Gamescast, watch the Game Over Greggy show, enjoy love and sex stuff, buy fabulous merch at kindoffunny.com/store, and of course, spread it with your friends. It goes up every Tuesday, 9 a.m. youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. Subscribe. MP3 services are on the globe. Subscribe to them too. Even though it's, I don't know, subscriptions are weird, I feel, for the audios. I do it, but I don't download them all automatically. You know, it's however you want to do it. Housekeeping, Colin. Before we get into it.
Wake me up when you're done.
Kind of Funny Live is still coming. May 28 and 29. Am I worried about that? That last weekend?
That's right.
All right, cool. kindoffunny.com/tickets. You can go there. Our first question, of course, from kindoffunny.com/PSQ comes from Midgar777. Hello, Colin and Greg. Have you considered selling some kind of digital ticket for the Kind of Funny Live experience similar to BlizzCon? I would totally part with some of my hard-earned UK dollars to get involved. I love the GDC streams and you guys, and I love the idea of seeing some longer sessions. Thanks. Keep up the good work, Pete. No, Pete. As Kind of Funny Live last year, the whole thing was we wanted you to come to it, experience it. You did. You saw it was more than just us talking around a table. It was an entire event. You can watch it, of course, on youtube.com/kindoffunny. Kind of Funny Live 2, same idea. No, it's a 2-day event now, filled with special guests, filled with crazy things, filled with skits, filled with podcasts, filled with autographs, filled with meet and greets, filled with drinks if you're of age. If you're not of age, you can finally come. So no, we like to make the event an event that you need to come to. kindoffunny.com/tickets. Please come. You'll have a good time. Other piece of housekeeping information, Uncharted 4 is up. Our Let's Play is up of Uncharted 4. Check it out on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. Colin did not play it. Colin is trying his hardest to stay in media blackout mode. To know nothing about it.
I don't care about it.
You don't care about it? That's a new wrinkle.
Yeah.
That I didn't know.
I don't care about it.
I thought you cared so much about it you didn't want to ruin it.
I just don't care about it anymore. I'm only kidding. I care about it quite a great deal.
Quite a great deal.
Quite a great deal.
I'm glad you do.
I am so... You see, it's the weather. It's the sun.
The heat of Austin?
We were outside for so long.
Right. We're people who belong indoors.
We were so very sun-soaked.
Yeah.
So very sun-soaked.
Yeah. But your olive complexion.
Well, my Italianness is... I'm looking very Italian right now.
Yeah.
But I'm on the border where it's getting a little red.
Your ears are red.
Yeah.
You didn't put
well,
anything
I
in
don't
your
care
ears.
about that. Who cares?
I'm just saying, like, I think, yeah, I agree with you. This is a fine piece of Italian salami right there. This is a fine piece of Italian meat. Cured perfectly.
Look at that.
Ears? That's the hot sausage.
What did they used to do back
when they were working
the
the fields?
Yeah,
like when you're a farmer and shit? Yeah. Like when you're like going...
Before...
That's why they had the big hats.
What was the give me a company that makes some suntan lotion.
Coppertone.
Before there was Coppertone.
Yeah.
Before I couldn't even think of the word for cooler.
Yeah. And also you could just, the time zone threw you once last night where you're like, why isn't this video live? We're like, we're 2 hours ahead. But then the exact same situation happened this morning, and this was before the sun exposure. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you've been clanking around.
I've been having a rough kind of day. Not rough. I've had a
good
day.
You've had a rough life.
Pretty rough life.
Yeah.
But I've had a good day. I've had a fun day.
Yeah.
See, when we do these productions, I'm not very comfortable with them though, because there's people. There was literally a woman holding an umbrella for you,
right?
And then she held it for me
and for Craig from school.
And I was like, I'm like, I don't. Very nice woman, but I'm like, I just don't. And then they're like handing waters to us, like writing our names on them, like very doting, And I don't like. I know you live that life. You love that life. You love it. You don't even say. I don't want to hear anything else you have to say about it. But I'm not comfortable with that particular life.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I don't.
But it's just that you are so used to our life of Kind of Funny, even IGN to an extent, that when you get to a production that's run like a production, it's another world for us. It is very bizarre that they have enough people where literally one person's job is to make sure everybody got enough water, be on a headset, be ready to help.
Did you believe it?
Because we would have done the guy who was running the camera, the person who was checking the mics, the people who were giving us water, the one who was doing this, the guy who's buying craft services, the one who's driving around getting... That all would be Kevin. That's how we would run that shoot.
Yeah.
We'd be like, it's Kevin, and then we threw 6 pence at Sean Finnegan. He's over here helping us out now, too.
It's weird that we're paying him in pence. So I guess what I'm saying
is... He's a weird dude. That's what you got to
I like doing these shoots. It was a lot of fun. It was good to see everyone today, but I don't want to do them too often.
I don't think
because I need to stay very grounded.
Oh, I know.
It's very important to me.
Yeah, oh man, you could get ungrounded at any second.
You never
Unmoored.
know. You never know what's going to happen.
Here's what I want to know, Colin.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I've been gone. I went to LA to do the Final Fantasy event, then I went to Austin here for some Rooster Teeth stuff, then to see Scott Lowe's bachelor party, then this.
You just went and saw Scott Lowe's bachelor party. By the way, you couldn't just have a bachelor party.
Watch it as a casual observer from the outside.
You couldn't just have a bachelor party.
I didn't have a bachelor party. I couldn't just attend a bachelor party. How about that?
Fair enough.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Because you had to make a fucking hashtag for it.
Now again, that was them.
It was a funny hashtag.
That was them.
But it's like,
well,
if you have a question for Scott Lowe, tweet at him with the hashtag. Can you just go to a bar and drink?
No, that's boring.
Just go to a fucking strip club and see some ladies.
That's boring. I'd rather live stream Periscope from the strip club.
Man, you guys are fucking crazy.
Get some Q&As. Yeah, we enjoy it.
You really are. No, you shouldn't. Don't enjoy it.
What have you been playing in the time apart? What have you been doing with your life?
Not much. So, Ramon was here.
Right.
Game Over Greg show is already up, or is going up this week with him in it.
Right.
And we also did the Patreon exclusive for our patreon.com/kindoffunny supporters with him. And that's really, people are digging that episode.
He's great.
Reminds you a lot of your dad's episode where people seem to kind of take to it. So I played a little bit of The Division just to show it to him. I'm like level 28 now or something like that. I just stopped playing because he's here. I want to be rude.
Sure, of course.
And then on the flight down to San Diego, and then on the way here, I dabbled a little bit with 2 games.
Okay.
So I played Big Fest for the first time.
No.
Now
I played Big Fest. No.
Kind of trash.
Yeah.
I was pretty excited about the idea of the game. It had like a very tycoon. Ex-tycoon kind of thing going on, with but you're like working a festival, music festival, and all this. I'm like, this game sucks. Like I don't know why it just didn't run very well on Vita. It's fucking ugly.
Yeah.
I don't usually mind the way a game looks, but I mean this game looks 15 years old. And then I messed a little bit with Civ Rev 2 Plus on Vita.
Now I have it. It's installed. Haven't had time to play it yet. What did you think?
I played it very briefly, just through the tutorial and then like some odds and ends in it. And I'm just having issues with the control input. There's a lag with the control input, at least that I'm observing. The load times are pretty egregious. It doesn't seem like it's very optimized for Vita. Now that makes sense. It's the Vita. It's not going to run a game like that well. But that's all I've been messing around with lately. But we did get Ratchet and Clank, and so I think when I go home, we're going to go home tomorrow morning when this post is what we're going to get in. I'll probably dedicate the next day or 2 to that and just get that out of the way.
Yeah.
And then jump back into other shit. Yeah.
Okay.
But I imagine you played only Vita games since you have been home for a week.
Yeah, I played a lot of XCOM. Not a lot. I've been playing XCOM on the Vita. I'm not like a million hours into it or whatever. I'm enjoying it. Similar to what you're talking about, right? Where it's not running great. The load times seem longer. The texture somehow got lost in this port.
Yeah, no textures.
Who the fuck cares? It's XCOM. The actual gameplay is still there. The building out my base is still there. Something playing the Vita is still there.
I like XCOM. When it came out on PS3, it just I don't know. I'm very particular with my with my strategy role playing.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
I never would have pegged you as a particular person.
Very particular.
Okay.
Really hungry right now too. Like we had a very nice catered lunch.
Yeah.
I also had a taco or a burrito actually this morning, a little beef and a little egg in it. But I think
why did it make a burrito? Because they were breakfast tacos.
Were they tacos?
Yeah.
In a soft shell?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's a burrito.
Oh,
like, is a taco really a taco if it comes in a soft shell?
Yes.
I don't know about that.
Anytime you get street tacos, they're always in soft shells.
Huh.
See,
like, my whole conception of Mexican food
before
I was 17 or 18 and came to San Francisco for the first time was, maybe a little younger than that, was the crunchy shell tacos you get in, like, those yellow boxes. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. The, I want to say O'Reilly, but that's the, Olay. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
oh,
Olay,
they have the little...
I think that's right. You get a little bit of ground beef in it.
Yeah, of course.
Very bland.
Yeah, very incredibly bland.
I don't know what we were thinking eating that shit.
It's like Taco Bell.
That's terrible. What were we talking about?
Somehow you started off on... You're hungry. It started from you were hungry, and then we got there.
Oh, yeah, so I'm going to go to Smash Burger, I think, tonight.
Smash that burger!
And then I'm going to just go to bed, probably. We got to fly out early tomorrow.
Early morning?
We're flying out very early tomorrow.
Yeah.
Extraordinarily early.
Right. It's cut. You know why? Because of our allegiance to Virgin America. It was either... If we're going to fly Virgin America and be a direct flight, it means that we're either leaving at 7 or we're leaving at 5:30 at night. So we jumped on the 7:30 or 7 o'clock flight.
My clock says it's 3:45.
I know, it's fucking us up. We
But in fact, we would have missed the flight because it's not 3:45.
Colin, let's begin the show with what is and forever will be Roper's Report. Time for some singular possessive news.
There are 12 items on the list.
A baker's dozen.
You do the bathroom around here?
Yeah.
Where?
I already went to it. You go out, then you take a left, and then you take an immediate right, and then another immediate right.
I'll go to the bathroom.
Okay. Do you want me to fill time?
Yeah, fill time. Go.
Now, the funny thing about this, I think they're going to... Well, eventually you get out of range, I guess. But, like, I'm not...
You want to hear me tinkle?
I don't know. I mean, I can mute your mic, I guess. Hey, everybody, it's me, Greg. How you doing? This is an interesting episode of P.S. I Love You. XOXO, isn't it? I'm enjoying myself with it. But that's, like, the shenanigans you get with Kind of Funny. Where, again, I think we could have done a couple different things, right? We could have not done the episode. We could have just not had an episode. I don't like doing that. I never want to miss a 9 a.m. publish on Tuesday. I had thought about last week doing, when we did P.S. I Love You XOXO, grabbing Colin and making him sit there and doing another one. Because I think there's evergreen topics we could do. But I also like the idea of this PlayStation show, which is always topical, always based on what's happening in the news or tacos. I like the idea of it being there. I don't like the... Because here's the thing. IGN. Loved IGN. IGN's amazing. I've said that a million times, right? When we were there, we always felt like there was a bar that needed to be met in terms of... You did not... There's no way you went to the bathroom that fast.
It went away.
It went away!
Yeah.
A bar that needed to be hit in terms of, like, we would never probably shoot this here unless it's a conversation. But you know what I'm saying? But here, I just throw up a photo of Shuhei, a little logo. You're still counting down there. Still got a timer. Still seeing the timer move. And you're ready to go. You got a show.
I feel like the timer's moving slowly.
Show.
Like it's time dilated.
Like we're on Miller's Planet.
Don't steal my references.
That's the one reference you make in that movie all the time. We should get the couch like this for the back home for the show. Look at how comfy
it's
we're.
a nice
Look
couch. I'm not gonna lie to you and say it's not a nice couch.
Thank you. I'm glad you're not gonna lie.
Oh, I'm so very tired. Okay. What are we doing?
You're in Roper's Report. You're supposed to go
12
number
items.
one.
There are 12 items.
Baker's dozen. We already covered that.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Number 1. Final Fantasy 15 has a release date. Finally. Will launch globally on September 30th of this year. That's right, 2016. Should the game launch on time, it will have been in development in some way or another for well over a decade, having changed names from Final Fantasy Versus 13 to Final Fantasy 15 several years ago. There's currently a new demo for the game available on PlayStation 4 if you want to get a taste of what the final product might be like. There are also 2 collector's editions, both of which I think are sold out by this point, so I didn't put them in here.
Would you like two stories, 2 reader mails from it?
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people wrote into kindoffunny.com/PSQ to ask their question for us about Final Fantasy. And Final Fantasy Uncovered. Thank you all for being so good to us. Of course, Uncovered Final Fantasy 15 was hosted by Tim and myself down in LA from the Shrine Auditorium. 6,000 of you live in the room, thousands online watching. You made it for an amazing event. You were all very nice. Even the people who didn't believe in us in the beginning seemed to come around and be like, you guys weren't ruined, or you weren't horrible.
Were people being mean on the internet about it?
Surprising, right? That people would be mean on the internet. But it was really the before. The after, they were like, okay, fine. First one comes from Kuro Inferno. Hey, Colin and Greg. This question is from my boy Greg Miller. On the 30th of March, you, Greg, and Tim hosted Final Fantasy Uncovered to announce the release date of the game. Before the event started, GameSpot leaked the release date. Do you think that was a dick move by GameSpot? In my opinion, predicting the release dates of games is totally fine, but leaking them, especially just before the event, is not fine. To be honest, it took away a lot of the excitement for the event in my case. I would love to hear your thoughts and Colin's thoughts on this. Kuro Inferno. P.S. Love from Arabia. Not a dick move. It was not malicious in any way. And I think we've been a part of it, both at IGN. I'm trying to think. Have we leaked any? Have we fucked up an embargo for Kind of Funny yet? Because it'll happen eventually.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, these things happen.
That's the whole thing. You put it in, especially for a company as big as GameSpot, as big as IGN. For when we were there, stuff moves. There's so many different people's hands that you lose sometimes the gatekeeper who is the person who's saying this is when it's supposed to go live. So yeah, that went up and it was early, and it wasn't. I got a lot of tweets from you guys saying like the people I feel really bad about this leak are Greg and Tim, and like no one on our end cared because there were so many other things to announce at that Final Fantasy event that nobody was hung up on the fact that the release date was out. Not to mention the release date had kind of been leaked.
Yeah, the release date was leaked. I think Gamatsu had leaked the release date. And that September 30th date had been floating around for a long time, and obviously we had known the release date for a while before the event. So when I saw that, I was like, that's unfortunate. I felt bad for my friends there because we had been, when we were at IGN, not that you and I were ever personally responsible for any of the leaks because we weren't, but leaks did happen. I remember specific games that we did leak or specific details of games that we did leak. And it's not always a person that's responsible. It's actually like sometimes a YouTube mistake. Sometimes YouTube just publishes shit. So, which is why like you don't. Let me give you an example. Like when we announced our collaboration with Rooster Teeth for Let's Play Live and all of this kind of stuff that we're going to do.
Kind of Funny Live.
Kind of Funny Live.
They're presenting Kind of Funny Live.
Kind of Funny Live, sponsored by Let's Play, or whatever it's called. Or whatever.
Let's Play
presents
Kind of Funny Live 2. Tickets on sale at kindoffunny.com/tickets.
And we had our store and all this kind of stuff. We had known about that for obviously a long time because we were negotiating the deal, but I was so scared that something was going to leak before Rooster Teeth was ready that I actually wrote all the tweets and Instagram stuff and Facebook stuff instead of putting it in Hootsuite, which is what we usually do, so that it publishes it automatically. Like at a certain time, I can put something in there now, and I think actually we put things in Hootsuite now that will publish in like 30 years.
I did,
but for that kind of stuff, I was so scared that there was going to be a technical glitch, which happens sometimes, and what might have happened to GameSpot for all we know. That I was like, I'm going to write this all by hand exactly when it's happening. And so I woke up really early that morning and was doing it along with you guys when I really could have just stayed in bed and had all this shit rolling out whenever I wanted it to. So
same thing. I sympathize with that. Today's Let's Play of Uncharted. Last night, the time zone thing, I put it in. I put I wanted to go live at 7 a.m. and I have to go in and put Los Angeles time. And then I bounce out and I come back in to look at it in Video Manager. And it says 7 a.m. local time. And I went and changed it and pop back out, and it says local time. And so I'm assuming it's reading local from somewhere else, but I didn't risk it. I just privatized it, went to bed, woke up, 30 minutes early, set it for the right time again, left it, and then it went live at the time it was supposed to go.
I think we're GMT plus 7 in San Francisco, and I think that's how YouTube reads stuff, but it's scary to like not know if you're logging in and kind of fucking things up.
Yeah, of course.
Different time zone.
Yeah.
So I don't know. To me, it's so I feel bad for GameSpot just having known that kind of stuff happens, and I did feel bad for you guys too because even though there was other news to be announced, other things did leak from that, like that there was going to be a new demo and all that kind of stuff, and I felt bad for you guys because I was like, well, that does steal some of the thunder, but it doesn't seem like anyone really remembered once the event happened.
I made a bunch of references to it on the stage.
I wasn't able to watch it live, but I heard you guys did a really good job.
Sure,
congratulations.
Nick Scrappy Doo, your bag's in Bethany's office. That's where I put it.
Thank you.
No problem.
Sorry, guys. Sorry to interrupt.
We don't care.
Get out.
Love you.
We talked about tacos for the first 10 minutes, and then Colin wandered off, and then he lost the desire to pee, so it's not a big deal.
We getting tacos later?
Probably.
Cool. See you later.
Bye.
When you're done.
Okay.
Bye.
We're good kids.
Number 2.
I'm sorry. I had one more. I had one more Final Fantasy
15. Okay.
Nick's so good looking, he distracts me.
He's not that good looking. He's not that good looking. You're better looking than Nick.
Thank you. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Kazzy B wrote into kindoffunny.com/PSQ just like you can. It says, hey guys, Greg, first I would like to say good job on the Final Fantasy XV Uncovered event. You and Tim did great. Winky emoticon. However, my question is more of a sad one. Frowny emoticon. Well, for me anyway. So the Final Fantasy 15 Ultimate Collector's Edition was very limited. It had 30,000 units worldwide, which sold out in minutes. I live in Australia and thus could not buy the product off the SE store as they do not ship to my country. Australia received 80 copies for our entire country, so of course I could not get my hands on it. I've been waiting for this game for 10 years, so my question is basically, do you think this is fair? And what are your opinions on the matter? He says manner. Have you experienced anything like this? Sheer disappointment. Keep up the great work. KZB. P.S. I hope they make more copies for me down under. P.P.S. I hope Tim has his copy ordered. I am very jealous.
Well, the idea of limited editions and special editions is to limit them.
Right.
So, I mean, 80 seems like a little bit low for a country of Australia's size and economic prestige in terms of their ability to buy games. But I did hear that these sold out very, very quickly, that they're going for 3 or 4 times what they're worth already.
On the black market?
Not that people have them in their hands, but the promise of getting them in the future.
Right.
So, no, I don't think it's necessarily a big deal. Although I did also read that Square Enix is open to the idea of printing more.
Of course.
But and I think they would do that just because there's more money to be made, obviously. But
I don't think it's unfair. There has to be a limit to it, and when it gets to that limit, that's how it's going to be. You know what I mean? And, like, has it ever happened to us? Like, my example always is the 20th anniversary PS4, which, now granted, we have one back at home base, but that before that was given to us, through Sony, it was that at PSX that year, I was walking around refreshing my phone trying to get in. I wanted to buy it normally, and that didn't happen. It happened to a lot of people that way.
Yeah, I have the collector's or the 20th anniversary PS4 as well, and I was sad for people that really, really wanted one that they weren't able to get one.
Yeah.
Especially the people at PSX. That was so ironic. The internet wasn't good enough at PSX where people were kind of
You're
getting screwed. But then
the hardest core people are there at the event and can't get out.
But I also say that, like, it's just more clutter in your life.
Yeah.
Like do you really need?
Well, that's not the argument.
The collector's
edition
edition
stuff. Yeah, the collector's another
the game. Like, that's what the game.
Yeah, well, I don't even know. I don't think Tim has any plans to order one, or did, for sure. And then the other one I found recently is PSVR. You know what I mean? I was on a plane when PlayStation VR core units went for pre-sale, and you could only pre-order one.
Yeah, it would only let me pre-order one.
Yeah, so it's like, that's the luck of the draw. That's what happens. I guarantee I'll still have a PSVR on launch day because I'll murder somebody.
I'm sure. Granted, Sony will probably send us a couple.
But I do want to buy it as well, and that's my thing. Is that I think there'll be other pre-orders here and there, and you'll be able to get in there.
Sure.
Maybe we'll go wait in the line.
Number 2. April's PlayStation Plus games have been revealed, and as usual, there are 6 of them. Surprisingly, there is no platform crossover between them. PS4, PS3, and Vita get 2 free games each. On PS4, Dead Star, which is a kind of multiplayer space shooter, I think, and Zombie, which is a port of Zombie U, the Wii U launch game, are free.
God.
On PS3, I Am Alive, which you didn't like very much, and Savage Moon, which is an older PSN game, are available for free. And on Vita, A Virus Named Tom, which is new, I think comes out tomorrow, and Shushimi are free.
Okay.
So a pretty mediocre month, actually.
Yeah, that's not a great month at all. No standout that I think is amazing. Even though a lot of people did like I Am Alive and did not agree with my review.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't play it.
Because you believe me.
Yeah, I did. It's just other things to play,
And you believe me.
Sure.
Now, your boy Greg Miller. You believe him.
Now, number 3 is comes from NeoGaf. User Anixanhume, I don't know. It says that he or she got a few survey screens having to do with Mass Effect, and I wanted to legitimately read these. Briefly read these, what seem to be legitimate leaks.
Okay.
And they're not really even leaks, they're marketing materials. So it's the what he or she shared says, which of the below best describes how you feel about buying the next Mass Effect video game? And then it says it's described below. And so here's the quote of the description of the game. It says, Mass Effect Andromeda takes players to the Andromeda Galaxy, far beyond the Milky Way, where players will lead the fight for a new home in hostile territory where we are the aliens, opposed by a deadly indigenous race bent on stopping us. Experience the freedom to traverse and explore a planet-dense but seamless open-world galaxy rich with discovery. Play as the leader of a squad of military-trained explorers in an intense third-person shooter with deep progression and customization systems. This is the story of humanity's next chapter, and player choices throughout the game will ultimately determine our survival in the Andromeda Galaxy. Available at $59.99 for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and Windows PC Mac. And then they give you the options. Definitely would buy, probably would buy, might buy.
I would definitely buy that. Would you buy that?
Yeah, well, I'm going to. Let's see. There's other stuff in here that asks them to kind of describe. It seems like an overall immersive experience. I expect the graphics to have cinematic quality, blah, blah, blah. But a bunch of marketing speak. And then I just wanted to bring to other people's attention about Mass Effect, since we're so excited about Mass Effect Andromeda, and since we have to wait longer than we thought we were going to have to because the game was pushed into Q1 or Q2 of 2017 from the end of this year, is that if you go to NeoGAF and look for a Mass Effect Andromeda short gameplay leak from Taker34,
The Undertaker?
Basically, it just shows what. So it says, "Hey guys, I just found an interesting video reel on a website of a certain developer who is currently working on Andromeda. The clip contains a few seconds of gameplay. So you see like what looks like the protagonist, the shepherd in this, using a jetpack on the planet's surface to jump around. The HUD is very familiar looking.
Looks very Mass Effect.
The game looks like Mass Effect. I don't know what I was expecting. Assuming this is real, and I think it is.
Yeah, it does.
I don't know what I was expecting, but it doesn't look like. It doesn't look like.
Oh, this isn't what you're.
No, I mean it looks like more Mass Effect, which is fine. But and this could be early, this could be fake, this could be anything. But I was like, okay, like
Were your expectations up?
Yeah, I thought it would look better than this. I don't know that I really care if it does or not. But,
Sure. I mean, yeah,
that's my take on it. So you can go look for that if you want.
This cinematic or whatever, him falling down looks great. This looks like a little bit of the Mass Effect, not janky, but stiff animations. But I'm totally fine with that. Because I love that Mass Effect too.
Number 4.
As one.
Sega has completed its acquisition of beloved games publisher and developer Atlas. As part of the finalization of the deal, Sega will be the publishing imprint of all Atlas games moving forward, including the eagerly anticipated Persona 5. According to GameSpot, Sega notes that the change is, quote, to simplify business accounts, end quote, and unify its publishing arms. Quote, after nearly a year working under the Sega Games division, both Sega of America and Atlas USA have thrived and released a combined total of 23 games products. Between Atlas's ability to localize and release Japanese video game products efficiently and the strength of Sega of America's reputation as a leading publisher in the industry, the situation could not be more symbiotic for both companies, end quote. That is a quote according to Atlas CEO Naoto Hiraoka, as I think how I'm going to say that.
So sun-soaked.
So very sun-soaked. Usually I'm pretty good with Japanese names.
You are? No, I know.
So there's that. Number 5.
Would you care?
I mean, I think it kind of sucks.
Yeah, I know. I'm still like, ooh, Sega, ooh, you know what I mean? Don't.
I mean,
don't
I
fuck up
understand,
what
and they
Atlas is
own
doing.
them, and they can do whatever they want, and I think that that was always going to be their intention.
Yeah.
Sega publishing something of the stature of Persona is going to give them a lot of legitimacy, especially because Sega just doesn't have that much of any value. Like, sorry, you know.
So they got that Valkyria Chronicles though.
They do. Well, that Atlas did. Now they do. Right? Or did Sega
always said that.
Oh, so John Harden, who's a PR guy for Atlas,
right,
is now. Oh, see, that was my confusion.
That was the crossover.
That's why I was thinking that.
It's okay. You're allowed to be confused sometimes. I'm sorry. You're not allowed anymore.
Number 5.
Number 5.
Shadow of the Beast finally has a release date. The remake of the 1989 Commodore Amiga game under development at Heavy Spectrum Entertainment Labs was originally announced in 2013 before PlayStation 4 even launched. It since largely disappeared from the radar, was shown again in 2015, and was supposed to originally launch last month. It will now come exclusively to PlayStation 4 on May 17th. So there's that. And I know a lot of people were asking about that game. There were some assumptions before it was shown last year that the game was canceled, because the game was shown at Gamescom in 2013. And then it was just never seen for a couple of years. Number 6. Axiom Verge is finally coming to PS Vita around a year after it launched on PlayStation 4. The significant delay was due primarily to difficulty porting the game's engine from PS4 to Vita. The release date on Vita is April 19th and will be free if you already own the PS4 version. The game will also be 10% off for those who don't own it on either PS4 or Vita for the first week after the Vita iteration launches, assumably as a make good.
Are you happy to finally lift the ban? The ban had been placed down. You're not allowed to talk about that game until it was out. Here you go. It's finally here.
And you can... I don't think we published this one separately in the Gamescast. I could be wrong, but we did have Dan Edelman on, who's a PR rep, marketing guy, like just kind of one-man band for Axiom Verge. He's also working on Chasm and a couple other games. He used to work at Nintendo. And we interviewed him about... he brought it on Vita to show us at GDC, and he does go into depth about why it was difficult to port it. So if you don't want to read the PlayStation blog post and you want more on that, you can go to twitch.tv/kindafunnygames and go into the archives.
And the Chasm Let's Play is up with Dan as well. Colin, in that vein, I Dream of August wrote in to kindafunny.com/PSQ, just like you can. It says, "Hey Greg and Colin, I have played many of the games you both have recommended on the show, such as Actual Sunlight and 3/4 Home, and they were all good. No game that either of you has mentioned was as good as the Banner Saga. Unfortunately, this is yet another game that was promised for Vita that has yet to be released on everyone's favorite handheld. Do you think games like the Banner Saga will ever make it to the shores of Vita Island?"
Yeah, it is. So as far as I understand about the Banner Saga on Vita, Sony is funding the port of that game and is actually
the developers were pretty clear about tweeting about, like, we're in over our head, we know what we're doing, this is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, so as far as I understand, that is happening, and Sony is working on it itself, or Sony is paying the port house to do it themselves.
Sure. Now, to I Dream of August's point, which is a little vague, I think we've seen a lot of games recently that were promised for Vita cancel, right? Is that going to continue to happen? Of course.
I assume so, but the thing that heartens me is that every week on PlayStation Blog there are Vita games announced.
Sure.
So I still think that we're going to get our Vita games. I just don't know. We have to show sales proof that it's worth it for them to bring these games over, and so And
so even the latecomers to Vita Island,
I'm super
do good.
Well, it's like Bithell told us, Mike Bithell, creator of Volume, and Thomas was alone. That Volume is selling very well on Vita. Like it's not like just
millions of units, but it's doing better than he thought it was going to.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that there's going to be games like that. I assume that Tom Happen and Dan Adelman are going to see the similar numbers with Axiom Verge. So games that make sense on the platform are going to do well there. And I do think, having played Banner Saga extensively, that I think that it makes a lot of sense on Vita. So
yeah.
So it's coming.
Okay, good. Speaking of coming, I'm going to stand up a little nose. But you keep going, because I'm just going to do it right around there.
Okay.
I get to check the battery on the camera. It's going to be great, everybody.
Sure, that's fantastic.
Coming right at you.
Number 7. It appears that both movie projects based on Naughty Dog's properties, The Last of Us and Uncharted, are in flux, with The Last of Us in outright development hell. Word comes by way of Naughty Dog's Neil Druckmann, who spoke with IGN about both films. Uncharted is slated to launch on June 30th, 2017. Druckmann said about that movie, quote, "Every once in a while, they'll come in and they'll present to us, here's the script, here's what we're thinking. We'll tell them what we think works, what we think doesn't work. That's where we're at. Last I heard is they got a new screenwriter, but we haven't seen anything in a while. Ellipsis. Our approach is just to steer them back to those relationships. The most important part to get right is Nathan Drake's relationship with Elena, and Nathan Drake's relationship with Sullivan. If you don't get that right, I don't think the film's going to work. If you get the core right, there's a chance it could work," end quote. As for The Last of Us, Druckmann said, quote, "I know I said in an interview a while back, we had a table read, got the script to a good place, and it kind of entered development hell like these things tend to do. There hasn't been any work done on it in over a year and a half."
Damn, son.
So if you're looking forward to The Last of Us movie, especially, I wouldn't hold your hand on your ass looking for that anytime soon. Although Sony apparently still has the Uncharted movie slated for June 30th, 2017, although that doesn't sound like it's going to
No, that's not going to happen. They don't have a cast, do they?
I don't know.
No, that's going to get delayed for sure. That sucks. Because remember, Last of Us was the one I thought sounded like they had the best shot at. Neil was super involved.
Yeah.
Maybe get Maisie Williams, this, that, and the other. It was
I just feel like they need to not do them at all.
I mean,
I was very happy to see that The Last of Us is probably not going to happen.
You understand that I'm with you. I wish video games didn't chase movies and feel like they need to do this and let's get legitimate and da-da-da-da. But I felt like that was the one that I thought, that one might have a shot at being great.
Sure.
Or good.
Yeah. I expect that. Here's a feel-good story for you.
Thank you.
Number 8. A Sony employee, Alex Nawabi, who works for PlayStation's R&D team, created a special controller for a game named Peter Byrne, who has cerebral palsy.
Oh, a game.
A controller for a gamer.
Gotcha.
That's what I said, right? Created a special
I thought you
controller
said
for a
gamer.
I'll say it again, but I think I said it right. But sun-soaked and all
Sure.
this. A Sony employee, Alex Nawabi, who works for PlayStation's R&D team, created a special controller for a gamer named Peter Byrne, who has cerebral palsy. His ailment often has his left hand inadvertently brushing the DualShock 4's touchpad, according to Kotaku, which made it hard for him to play. Nawabi disabled the touchpad as a result and installed a new pause button to the controller that will replace the touchpad's button functionality. The full story with video can be found at News 12 New Jersey's website.
Very nice.
If you want to go check that out, you can. It's a very nice, feel-good story. News 12, of course, originally started on Long Island, News 12 Long Island. So when I saw News12.com, I was getting very excited. I was even more excited about it than I was when I read it the other time. But I thought that was a very nice, feel-good story.
No, I'm glad that there's people out there doing stuff like that. Everyone should be able to game.
Yeah, and I know that I can't think of it right now, but there is a...
Isn't it Able Gamers?
Able Gamers. I was going to say Able
charity.
Gamers,
yeah.
Which is a way for developers to learn about how to make their games more accessible to people with a wide range of disabilities. Although it seems like a challenge, but it also seems like a marketing opportunity and like a niche that you can fill if like a disabled gamer of a certain sort can count on a developer to make a game for him or her that is going to take his or her disability into account. I know that's very difficult, and I also know that there's not a lot of money to be made there, but I think there's a lot of goodwill. And it was interesting. I can't remember, what was the game called that we had on GDC about the colors? Do you know what I'm talking about? There's a color wheel.
Yes.
It's very cartoonish.
Hue.
And I asked them what I thought, not a stumping question, but I asked them a question that I thought, like, for sure.
Gotcha.
Where I was just like, you're going to say, like, this game can't be. Because I was like, what about colorblind people? And I was expecting them to be like, well, this game can't be played by colorblind people, which I think would have been a totally acceptable answer. You know, because the game's so dependent on color. And they had a whole solution in the game for colorblind people that had to do with emblems. And I thought that was very clever. So there, that's an obvious thing. There's a lot of colorblind people in the world. But it would be nice for games to be more accessible to people that can't play them traditionally. And I like to see that story.
Agreed.
Number 9. It looks like Shadow of Mordor 2 is in active development after all.
What a surprise.
Word comes by way of Nerd Leaks by way of NeoGAF, which uncovered Shadow of Mordor 2 on Lauren Mary Kim's CV. Lauren Mary Kim is a stunt actress who has appeared in both movies and games, including Resident Evil 6, Tomb Raider, Batman Arkham Knight, Assassin's Creed Unity, and much, much more. At the bottom of her CV, she lists Shadows of Mordor 2 with stunts/acting as the brief description. She lists Blur as the company she presumably worked with. Blur Studios is a CGI team that's worked on movies like Deadpool and game trailers like The Division. So this seems like an obvious one. And this isn't the first Shadows of Mordor 2 leak to happen, but it seems like WB's has, as its publishing arm, is hard at work on that as well.
No surprise there. That game did great.
Yeah, critically and commercially.
Yeah.
Number 10. Did you know that Final Fantasy XI was still running on PlayStation 2 as of the end of March 2016?
I did not know that.
Final Fantasy XI, the first Final Fantasy MMO, which launched on PS2 in 2002, alongside PC, is officially no more on the console. The PC version will continue to operate, however. So basically, as of the end of March, the game no longer works on PS2.
Okay.
Number 11. It appears Square Enix might not be done with its Go series of games, starting, I think, with a Lara Croft Go and then Hitman Go, right?
Correct. No, actually, it was the opposite.
Hitman
Go, then Lara Croft Go.
NeoGAF user Ekim dug up registrations for websites indicating that Square Enix may be interested in developing Just Cause Go, Life is Strange Go, Thief Go, Deus Ex Go, and Tomb Raider Go. It's important to note that Square Enix may not be actively developing any or all of these titles, and it's not terribly uncommon for companies to squat on URLs that they may think they'll be able to use in the future.
I don't know how to feel about a Life is Strange Go. You know what I mean? Because at first, excitement, then panic, then questioning,
Then trepidation.
then trepidation.
Then hunger.
I'm cautiously optimistic. The hunger is always there, as you know. I always want to consume more stories about Max Caulfield and tacos. Makes sense. They found a lot of success with these Go games, especially now that they're on PlayStation Vita. Or the one is Hitman. Very interesting. Very interesting. What would you do with a Life is Strange Go? I mean,
it's just a hypothetical right now, but those
Sure.
URLs are in control by Square Enix. So
good to see Square understanding that there's no market for that and going after it. I cannot remember right now which one is the one that is it Square Enix Montreal that works on all the
I think
ones?
so.
I think it is too. They do great stuff. They got they have a small team that knows what they're doing. I'd love to see them take on something crazy like Life is Strange. I forgot how that looks. It works.
The one thing I was surprised to not see in there were two things: was Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest, which indicates to me that this is very Western centric.
Sure.
Square Enix. These are a lot of Western IP rather. And number 12, the wrap up. Arcade adventure game Lumo comes to PS4 and Vita on April 22nd. Unique artsy PS4 game Lovely Planet comes to PlayStation 4 this spring, and I think that's an interesting shooter, if I remember correctly. That looked kind of fascinating. Rhythm game Hatsune Miku Project Diva X, which I know you're excited about, is coming to PS4 and Vita in the fall of 2016 and will be released both physically and digitally. PS4 exclusive Neo, which I'm super excited about, heavily inspired by games like Onimusha, will launch in 2016, and the game will receive an alpha demo from April 26th to May 5th on PSN. Sci-fi JRPG Star Ocean Integrity and Faithlessness launches in the West on PS4 on June 28th. Rhythm tower defense game Loud on Planet X comes to PS4 on April 19th. Yet more evidence of the Bioshock collection has emerged, this time from the ESRB, which slates the collection for release on PS4, amongst other platforms. I don't know what the fuck they're waiting for at this point. And finally, Far Cry Primal is receiving free Survivor Mode DLC, which will add, amongst other features, permadeath. It will be available via patch on April 12th. And that is it for the news.
Colin.
Yes.
I want to know about this Lumo game, but of course it's not out yet. So I want you to tell me about things that are coming to mom and grop shops, but I want to look at the battery before I do that.
Sure.
Ooh, coming right at you.
Go ahead and do that.
Okay. Still at 2 bars.
Okay.
I'm gonna let it roll for a second.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because I'll keep
Are
checking.
we gonna have to wrap up really quickly? You think? If
No, I got a backup battery there.
Oh.
It's just that when it dips 1 to 1, I'll probably want to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't want to risk it.
Yeah,
You know, we're running around. We're doing this show. We're making it for these people. We love the
you
show.
don't
We
wanna
love
do
this
it. You don't
stuff.
wanna do
You know what I mean? Pow. Colin, if I
Yes.
want to know what's coming to mom and grop shops, digitally and physically, where would I go?
You go to the upcoming list of the list of upcoming PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, PlayStation Vita, and PSP software sometimes by the kind of funny co-founders. I wonder if this episode's as bad as it feels. What do you think of that?
No, I don't think it is.
No? Okay.
I mean, this is normally as bad as this show ever.
Sure.
It's granted, we're being goofier. You went on, walked off and stuff.
Well, it shows a little dedication that we're doing it at all, I think.
I agree.
You know, we didn't have to do it.
No.
I don't have to do anything I don't want to do, Greg.
Exactly.
A Virus Named Tom comes to Vita Digital, and this is actually free with PS Plus. A Perfect Place, a city without traffic, a dog that doesn't poop. All products of the brilliant mind of Dr. X, but hell hath no fury like a mad scientist fired by a giant corporation. In this unique action puzzler, you take control of Tom, a virus created for one purpose, revenge. Hack your way through brain-scrambling puzzles while maneuvering through a thumb-cramping maze of enemies.
Okay. I'm interested in it. It's free, okay.
Amplitude comes to PS3 digitally, cross-buy with PS4.
Why? Stop it. Buy PS4.
Amplitude is the long-anticipated crowdfunded reboot of the 2003 cult classic rhythm action game from Harmonix. The experience you know and love has been updated with a new soundtrack and fresh visuals, rebuilt from the ground up. Assassin's Creed Chronicles Trilogy comes to Vita digital and retail.
Interesting.
Explore 3 distinct civilizations and periods throughout history, including the Ming Dynasty's downfall in China, the Sikh Empire in India, and the aftermath of the Red October Revolution in Russia. Embody assassins Xiao Jun, Arbaz Mir, and Nikolai Orlov in the 2.5D reimagining of the Assassin's Creed universe.
Are you going to play it?
No.
Are you interested at all?
Maybe I will. Maybe I will.
I mean, it won't have the gameplay you hate so much.
That's true. And I do like Assassin's Creed's story.
Yeah.
Battleborn's open beta comes to PS4 digitally. Begins on the 8th, so this begins on 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's Friday. A tremendous band of badass heroes fight to protect the universe's very last star from a mysterious evil in this next-gen shooter by the creators of Borderlands. Slash and parry, run and gun, cast and dash, or simply obliterate foes while building and growing your personal team of heroes.
Interested to see how that's going to go.
Yeah,
maybe that's the time people play it and they're like, okay.
Yeah.
There's
Could be a
here.
Destiny effect there.
Yeah, exactly.
Bounce Rescue comes to PS4 digitally. It says, the evil devil has landed on Earth with the intention of taking over the world. He manages to capture 2 members of the team and escape to Darkland. Outraged by this, the team goes on a mission to save their captured members from the evil devil.
I hate the devil. I'm glad somebody's finally giving it to him. Giving him the old 1-2 business punch.
The 1-2 business punch. Dead Star comes to PS4 digitally. This is free with PS Plus. Dead Star is an online multiplayer space shooter combining the fast-paced feel of arcade classics with modern RPG elements. Fight in procedurally generated battlefields, earning loot and levels to further customize your experience, including a massive warship used to invade live player matches.
Cool.
Dirt Rally comes to PS4 digital and retail. Dirt Rally is the most authentic and thrilling rally game ever made, road-tested over 80 million miles by the Dirt community. It perfectly captures the white-knuckle feeling of racing on the edge as you hurtle along dangerous roads at breakneck speeds. Enter the Gungeon comes to PS4 digitally. I'm very excited about this one. Enter the Gungeon is a gunfight dungeon crawler following a band of misfits seeking to shoot, loot, dodge roll, and table flip their way to personal absolution by reaching the legendary Gungeon's ultimate treasure, the gun that can kill the past.
I can't wait. Loved this game when I played it at that event. Haven't played it since. I hope it all came out and it's good. I got a code, I know. I just haven't played it yet.
Green Game Time Swapper comes to Vita digital. This is out on the 4th, so this is actually out today before this even launches. This show does. A highly addictive 2D puzzle game bearing the one more try and I quit syndrome. You control time to activate and deactivate various mechanisms in a mysterious green world. Find one of many ways to the end. I'm sorry, I have 50 levels. Lovely Planet's the game I was talking about before, PS4 digital, with boots of speed on your feet, an infinite supply of bullets for your semi-automatic, and the ability to jump over twice your own height. You're well equipped to go up against any enemy on your quest to reach Lovely Planet.
Okay, that's interesting.
Mega Man Legends 2 comes to PS1 Classics, so this is a PS3 game. Digital. Or PSP. Or maybe Vita. Join Mega Man on another exciting adventure in search of a mysterious girl and a legendary treasure. Explore more environments and plenty of dungeons to find the sealed key to unlock the Great Legacy, a mystery that could either boon or curse mankind.
Colin, you're the biggest Mega Man fan around, and do you care about that one?
No.
No? Okay.
Legends was fine, but I just never understood the love that Legends gets compared to Classic and X, so I don't care.
Okay.
Skullgirl's Second Encore comes to Vita. This is digital and it's cross-buy if you own it on PS4. Skullgirl's Second Encore is a beautiful, fast-paced 2D fighter that puts players in control of fierce warriors in an extraordinary Dark Deco world. Each of the 14 wildly original characters features unique gameplay mechanics and plenty of personality. Very pretty game. And finally, Stickbold comes to PS4 digitally. Stickbold is a groovy 70s-themed multiplayer dodgeball game with intense, quirky arenas and chaos-inducing random events that change the outcome of each round.
We played this one.
I never did, I don't think. You did.
You didn't play it with us at GDC? Oh, you had to go. Right. I think. What? Yeah. Oh, dude, that game's fun. That's a really good multiplayer game. I'm stoked about that. I didn't realize it's so close to being out on PlayStation 4. Everybody get ready. That one's fun to play. Good local co-op. Or, I guess, competitive, actually. But you know what I mean. Local multiplayer, which we don't have a lot of anymore. But a fun dodgeball game. Cute graphics. I'm excited about it. Colin?
Yes.
Time for topic of the show. This one comes from the community over at kindoffunny.com/PSQ, just like you can. And, in particular, Matt Mick Caleb. Matt says, "Hi there, Greg and Colin.
Hello.
I have some sad news followed by a question. My wife has just recently been diagnosed with cancer of the tongue. Super rare for a 24-year-old who has never smoked.
That's terrible.
And we have quite a long road ahead of us, as I'm sure you know, Greg. This brings the challenge of long days at the hospital during surgery, recovery, as well as radiation chemo treatments. My question is," before we get to the question, of course, Matt, very sorry.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Your best to you and your wife.
Yes.
My question is, I'm one of those terrible people who didn't buy a Vita at launch, but now it looks even more enticing as we will be away from home a lot. Most importantly, my wife has told me that I should get one too, so I can easily waste time with her during treatments and recovery. Steer me, Vita gods. Matt has a slew of questions here that I've bullet pointed out that we'll go through and debate one by one.
Okay.
And I like this because I'll promote the show this way. And we get this topic all the time. If you wanted to jump into a Vita, what do you do? How do you go? So this is the definitive P.S. I Love You XOXO commentary on the PlayStation Vita right now. A first-timer's guide, if you will.
Sure.
Steer me, Vita gods, Matt writes. Slim or OLED?
OLED.
I love my Slim. And my point to this is I do not think there is a big enough difference to go out of your way to jump through the hoops you'd have to jump through to get an OLED. You do not. I'm sorry.
I agree with you on that.
Sure. You do not want to buy used. I don't like buying used consoles.
No.
I remember all the consoles. I like when I had a PSP and I'd return it because it had a pixel out. You know what I mean? Like that kind of shit happens, or the stick does this, or there's gonna be a ding on it that's not your ding. You know what I mean? I had my OLED. I dropped down the stairs at IGN on those cheese crutter stairs, and it was scuffed all hell. But those were my memories, my thing with it. You know what I mean? I didn't mind them that much. So to jump through and try to find this used one to do all these different things, I don't think it's worth it. And I personally, and I know this is where we get into a different conversation of taking about how. Taking out of the equation how hard or not hard it is to get one of these. I like the Slim more than I liked my OLED because I think the form factor is better. I like that it's lighter. I like that I can actually slip it in my pocket and go do stuff. Not that I couldn't slip my OLED in there, but with more ease. I like that I can play it in bed like this longer without it coming and slap me in the face or whatever. Like there's just little things to it that way.
I respect that.
Thank you.
I think that I agree with you that you shouldn't buy an OLED used, and it might not be worth the hoops to jumping through the hoops to find an OLED new.
Yeah.
But I still think you can find them.
Sure.
And if you just have to know where to look, and like you have to find like a fucking random Walmart that has one or something like that.
Yeah.
But OLEDs are kind of getting old now. You can't go wrong with either of them, but I think the OLED's got heft. I think the OLED screen's obviously way better. But I also think that I'm fine with the Slim.
Cool.
I don't use the Slim.
I know.
use my launch Vita still, but it is dying. It's been dying for a long time. So
Yeah, you do need to get it.
I've been thinking about buying like 3. And just like keeping like one in the box forever, and then like one as one that when the other one that I buy dies, I have like another one to buy.
Yeah.
Or another one because who knows?
But when the other one dies, I think the Vita will be long gone.
Maybe. Yeah. We'll see.
I don't think you have to worry about it to that extent. I thought maybe you just wanted different colors. There's gonna be one.
No, I want one in the box, like in the box for sure.
Okay.
And then yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Okay. Next question. Matt says, "Games?" ?
I mean, we talk about this so much. It's hard to like. What comes to mind for me? Super Stardust Delta comes to mind for me.
Persona 4 Golden,
Persona
a great
4
game,
Golden.
especially for you having so much time to kill at the hospital.
Yeah, it's a great choice. I think Rainbow Moon, like games like that,
Rumble.
RPGs are good like that. Danganronpa 2.
Yeah.
Velocity and Velocity 2X are fantastic games.
We start getting into where games that maybe aren't exclusive to the Vita platform, but Rogue Legacy was my jam on Vita.
Yeah, Rogue
That's
Legacy
where I played
is a
it.
fantastic Vita game. So I think you have, Binding of Isaac's a great game. And these games, again, not exclusive to the platform, but I feel like are made for the platform. I think Axiom Verge, should it work, is going to be a great, and I have no reason why no reason to believe it wouldn't work, is going to be a great game on Vita.
We've already mentioned them in the show, right? I always talk about Actual Sunlight, 3/4 Home. There are these indie experiences on there that, I was talking to somebody, one of my friends, and I apologize for getting, but who's saying how much he loved Unfinished Swan on it, you know what I mean? Like, there are games you could play other places, but I feel like that's what I love about the Vita, is that when I miss it on a PC or I miss it on a PlayStation, or that I'm like, that's a game that I'd like to have on the road. It's not going to take so much time. I want to be able to plow through stuff. Because the worst, my main problem with Vita games is when I get really into them and then take time off from the Vita. I'm not traveling or something, and then trying to get back in that rhythm of where I left off is always a pain.
Yeah, I would also check out Freedom Wars. I check out Sunday.
Freedom Wars is fucking fantastic.
Saturday Morning RPG.
And that was one of the big things for the Freedom Wars port, and I'm glad, I still need to play Saturday Morning RPG, but I know you love it. His question kind of makes it sound like his wife might be getting one as well. And if that's the case, 1,000% get Freedom Wars. Steimer and I had such a blast playing that game on our trips, and that was like what 25, 30 hours of that game. Like that game's awesome. It's fun to play with people. There's so much to do in terms of content unlock and get into it. Really good stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, a safe thing you can probably do is to get to go, like, I don't know if IGN updates it anymore, so I can't endorse it if they have updated it, but the top 25 Vita list you guys put together, even if you can find the ones that Greg and I personally did, if you can find them like cached somewhere, people just like wrote the list down, I mean, that's a good place to start too, because Vita does have an exceptional library. It's just hard to, I mean, we've had them since 2011, so it's hard for us to like, it's hard for me anyway to think and be like,
I mean, like, you can jump to, I mean, we haven't mentioned Golden Abyss, we haven't talked about Luminous, I mean, that's the launch line of stuff, but like Hot Shots, Killzone, like there are so many great experiences that, like for us, I think as we get further and further inland on Vita Island, where we're cut off from the rest of the world, and we're just getting these Axiom Verges in this, that's where it starts to, like I'm playing XCOM on it, and I'm excited to play Axiom Verge on it, and I need to do this Civ game, and I need to get to Saturday Morning RPG. You lose a little bit, like, I think some of the standout when the machine was, like, it's going to be console-like experiences. You know what I mean?
It had some great AAA games on it.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Matt's next question, memory card size.
I have a 16 gig and I think it's fine. Like if you don't mind deleting games and re-downloading one, I don't think it's really that laborious of an issue. It's not a huge deal. Then I think you can even go with an 8 gig. I just wouldn't go with a 4 gig because that's what I originally had when I got it.
And that was Japan. Like that meant if you got that, you couldn't play Killzone. Right?
Yeah, like Killzone's patch was bigger than that, and so I have a 16 gig and I'm pretty content with it. I know you have a 64. They're all which you have to import. I think the 32 gig is the biggest you can get domestically. And I think you can't go wrong there either. But these memory cards are very expensive. And the issue I have is when you're doing this back and forth kind of stuff is that your saves, as far as I understand, are tethered to the game data itself. So make sure if you're going to delete and add games that you like send stuff to the cloud.
Be a PlayStation Plus guy and send them up there. Yeah, for me, I have 64 gig. I would recommend that. I would recommend going as big as you're comfortable with. I guess mainly because it's just like how many plates do you want to be spinning? How many things do you want to be moving to make it all fit? Because even now, don't get me wrong, it's not the worst thing in the world, but even now, I'm to that point where I'm at that tipping point where it's like, all right, you need to delete something to add something. I'm like, I fucking hate that. So I spent like a flight going through and cleaning it, and it was like, all right, I'm never going to play Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate again. You know what I mean? Like, I can delete that now, and like...
Still have to beat that game.
Yeez and stuff. And that's the whole thing is like...
Yeez, that's another good game you should get.
Going through these games that I like, but I'm never going to get back to, because it is the same thing for me, where it's like, there was like some cross-country flight with Batman Arkham Knight or Arkham Origins Blackgate where I put so much time into it, but now to pick that back up and be like, where was I and what was I doing? I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like, I've moved on. The experience is gone for me, so I would say that. But what do you want to do? I think 8 to 16 is probably a sweet spot in terms of like you can have a couple of different games on there. But if you're trying to jump around and try a million different things, you might as well just get them all loaded up, especially for hospital Wi-Fi and stuff. And I don't know how much you're gonna want to screw around with stuff like that. It's an easy way to do it. So how much money do you have to give? How much time do you want to waste? A blanket question. Other recommendations for a new Vita user. I mean, the other recommendation, it doesn't help you probably, Matt, but if anybody's listening, and I always talk about this, make sure you go through and redeem your PlayStation Plus games as they come, even if you don't have a Vita, even if you don't have a PlayStation 4. You just go in and claim every one of those games, so if you ever run into that platform, or you want to lend your platform to another friend, you can load that stuff up.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Somebody's sick, you're going to give them your PlayStation 3. Yeah, go in and you'll see everything I have that you can actually use.
I'd also say, shut off your Wi-Fi on your Vita will save a lot of battery life. Yep. Get to know the battery life of your Vita and like see how far you can push it. Sometimes the Vita tells you it's going to die when it's not going to die. Sometimes it tells you it's going to die and then it dies pretty quickly. At least like on my experience with my OLED, or going all the way back to the beginning.
Yeah.
And buy a case or at least protect the screen because you don't want to. That shit sucks when that like.
Yeah, you get a thing in there. I hate that kind of crap. Maybe carry one of your chamois with it.
Yeah, wipe it. Give it all a wipe down.
And his final bullet point here for the Vita gods: PS4 is my first PlayStation. What PS1 classics do I need to play? Or would you put Final Fantasy on there, 7? Would you? This is how I played Chrono Trigger, right? And I enjoyed it. I know people are like, oh, the load times. I'm like, I don't know any better. For me, I don't know what I'm missing.
The load times are terrible in Chrono Trigger on PS1. I think. I mean, my mind goes to the Japanese role-playing game. Kind of genre on PS1. So I think you can't go wrong with the Final Fantasy games. I think Final Fantasy 5. I think is a good. Like if you're gonna play 6, I'd play that on GBA. I'd even play that on SNES before I play it on on PS1. But that's an option. Wild Arms is one of my favorite games of all time. I think that's great. Castlevania Symphony of the Night is a must-play PS1 game. One of the great games of all time. I think that's inarguable for a lot of people. So you have Metal Gear Solid.
Oh yeah, how can I forget that?
So I think that there's a great many PS1 games. The thing is that I people get crazy about Tomba and Tomb Raider and Crash Bandicoot and Spyro and all this kind of stuff. These games do not hold up well. But the Japanese role playing games and the side scrollers hold up very well.
Sure. Matt, we love you. We wish you your wife
the very best recovery.
And he says, P.S. Kind of Funny forums are the friendly space on the internet, and I do love you guys.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Please keep us posted on the forums with your wife's battle. Colin, it's trophy time.
It is.
You're going to tell me about some trophies, what's coming to thing, what you
let
see.
me
I want it from what we talked about in this show. I want to know if you have any details on the Assassin's Creed Chronicles trophies. Have we talked about that?
Yeah, we have.
Did we talk about it last time? I forgot.
No, we didn't talk about them last time, but as they've been going up, I feel like we've...
And I also want to know what Stick Bowl. I want to know that dodgeball.
All right, so let's go with Stick Bowl. Stick Bowl has a platinum, 4 bronze, 17 silver, 5
17
gold,
silver.
and 1 platinum Stick Bowl. So
Speaking my language, Stick Bowl.
unlock all the daisies in warming up and complete the level. Unlock all the daisies in a Shady Fellowship. So it seems like daisies are some sort of collectible or star system maybe.
Sure.
There's a lot of these. Complete finals on casual. So casual difficulty, professional difficulty. Win a round without picking up the ball. Play a match with custom rules. Unlock all playable characters. Seems like pretty manageable.
It doesn't sound like a lot of multiplayer stuff.
No, I don't see any multiplayer.
Very interesting Stick Bowl.
Oh,
for you.
Let me look again. Win a 2v2 team match against 2 hardest AIs.
Okay, but that's like doable. That's not like play. I thought it was going to be play 400 local matches.
Enter the Gungeon has a platinum, 34 bronze, 12 silver, 2 gold, 1 platinum. Collect. So this one's gonna be a little harder, I think. Complete all 4 main character pasts, which is gonna be difficult. Complete the game with a sorceress's enchanted gun. Spend big at the acquisitions department, but so you're gonna spend a lot of money, but you don't know what you have to spend. Seems like this is gonna be a deep dive. For
this one is a heartbreaker because and I know. Don't get me wrong. I understand the power and this, that, and the other. Enter the Gungeon seems like it'd be a great Vita game. You know what I mean? Like that seems like a fun, meaty Vita game to get into and spend so much time.
I'm surprised, both surprised and not surprised that it's not coming.
And didn't we talk about it? I thought on the previous one, where in the comments or something, they had said like, well,
they'll look into it or whatever.
Yeah. Which is a no. It's a soft no. I understand.
So that's it. I went over to XO Phase because there's not much new but there are other things popping up. Dead Star trophies are live. And I don't know why these aren't popping up on PSN profiles yet.
Breaking news.
Let's see. Unclear. It doesn't tell you here what the breakdown is, but it seems like some of these trophies are going to be pretty difficult. And of course, Dead Star being a multiplayer game might not be the best place for you to go for that kind of stuff. And the only other thing I see on here that's actually super interesting to me is Miss Pac-Man.
Miss
Game series, 21 trophies for her. So let's see what
Miss Pac-Man and Pac-Man.
Oh my god, this is so easy. Eat the cherry that appears after eating a set number of packed dots. Eat the strawberry, eat the orange, eat the pretzel, eat the apple, eat the pear, eat the banana. Eat every fruit that appears for 3 rounds in a row. Eat all 4 ghosts in succession after eating a power pellet. Eat 2 fruits and all 4 ghosts in succession 4 times in a single round. Eat all 4 ghosts in succession twice in a single round. Eat all 4 ghosts in succession 3 times in a single round. That might be pretty tough. Eat all 4 ghosts in succession 4 times in a single round. So using all 4 power pellets. Are you a Miss Pac-Man fan? I'm a huge Miss Pac-Man fan.
I like it. I've never been great at it. I enjoy it. I watched the movie Pixels in Vegas.
You did?
And Pac-Man was in that. Just the end of it. Not as bad as it, those people made out to me.
Clear 2 rounds in a row without passing through a warp tunnel without losing life. That would be difficult. And then trophies for clear round 2, clear round 5, clear round 9, clear round 13, clear round 17. I'm super interested. I love Miss Pac-Man. What a fucking awesome game. So, that's a game. No reason for it to exist other than to play it.
Sure. Sure.
That's it.
Pure gameplay.
Yep.
Pure sex and pure gameplay.
And it's so old. What is it now? Like 34 years old, and it's still.
It's okay.
It's honest to God still better than like pretty much 95% of the games I got today.
Sure.
Pretty easily. So yeah, that's it for trophies for this week.
Well, Don DX wrote into kindoffunny.com/PSQ, just like you can get your question answered. It says, "Hey Greg and Colin, short and sweet. Will using a trophy guide be a pain in the butt while playing PlayStation VR games? I cannot imagine any way it won't. I love my trophies, but I don't think I would be able to enjoy VR when I put it off every couple of minutes, or let's say, hit the PlayStation button and use the PS4 browser. Wouldn't that ruin the immersion PSVR is promising? Keep on being kind of funny. Love you guys. Of course, Don DX, that would ruin the immersion of PlayStation and VR
really
or VR. But I think if that, like, I don't know about you. And actually, I do know you know about you.
Excuse me.
You know, I don't break out the trophy guide until I'm on my trophy run. I'm in it just for trophies. So whatever the game is, I'm going to play through the first time around, not fucking around with it. And then by the time it gets to, all right, like, it's not real. Uncharted VR, and now I got to find out where all these treasures are. Yeah, it's going to be, all right, up, watch the video. He goes, oh, it's over there, drink, and like I'm back into it. But at that experience, it's already broken. I feel like when you break out a trophy guide, you ruin the immersion of a game, where it sits there and it is me, like, you know, like Gone Home, where I was like, what? How am I not getting the 60 seconds? I went and watched a bunch of runs, and I'm mimicking that and mimicking how to get the diaries and stuff like that, and to get all the time-based trophies. That ruined the immersion of Gone Home, but at that point, I'd already had the experience of Gone Home.
Yeah, I think it depends. I mean, this is an interesting question I never thought of.
Yeah.
It's going to be difficult. I'm wondering with VR, the inherent nature of the immersion of VR, if I'm even going to care as much about trophies.
Sure.
And I think that I probably will care about them, but I don't think that it's going to be like my main goal for these games my first time through. I don't remember the last time I played a game and didn't look at the trophy list before I played it.
Sure.
Like, but a trophy guide is a different thing because a lot of these games we play early, and even when a game comes out, it takes a week or two for these guides to come up, and by that time, we're usually done with them. So, what's happening?
You're with your arm up. I want to make sure this.
Did you want to check the battery, by the way?
I did right before this segment. I can check it again then.
Well, I'm fine. If you're fine, I'm fine. Okay. So, it's an interesting question.
Yeah, very. I mean, for me, I think it's going to work the same way trophies already do, where I look at it, sure, what is there anything I can not, that's missable that I don't want to fuck up, and then it is, I love that game, I want to get more trophies, I want to do more, and that's when I'll really get into it. When I do that, I think I'm more worried about eye strain, where you go from this to then coming out and looking at that and go back to that.
Sure, that could be a problem.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a deal breaker in any way. But yes, it will be a pain in the tuchus, as you say. Don BX. Colin, read a mail.
Maelstrom.
Mail call.
Molotov cocktail.
No, it's so much sun. I'm gonna give you some options.
Well,
you ready?
I'm fading. Yeah, give me some options.
Do you want to talk more about PlayStation 4K 4.5?
Yeah, why not? We haven't talked about it at all.
Oh, well, very good.
Let's do that. I don't want the other options right now.
Okay, great. Kites writes in to kindoffunny.com/PSQ and says, "Hey, Colin and Greg. With all the rumors, speculation, and backlash about PS4K/PS4.5 on these forums and abroad, would it behoove Sony to make an official announcement before an event such as E3? Or will they simply let it ride until their ducks are in a row, so to speak? Thanks. Keep up the great work, Jesse."
The best option for them would be not to do it at all. And I was heartened, although not heartened because I don't want Sony to obviously fail or anything like that, but a lot of people were with me on this. And I think that I was surprised by that. I thought I was being a little, like, sounding the klaxons maybe a little too aggressively, but a lot of people are, you're absolutely right. Like, this is just bad idea. And I was equally interested in hearing Phil Spencer saying that the Xbox 1.5 is not a thing that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So they're not interested in doing that. So I'm like, well, now Sony's alone. So their competitor's not going to do it. Are they going to have a more powerful console? Yes. Do they already have a more powerful console than the Xbox One? Yes.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
I don't know, man. I don't know about this.
I don't think it hurts either way. You're, again, I think very much talking on what we think it is. You know what I mean? And I think Sony knows what it is. And I think, again, that's where it really comes down to brass tacks. When they come out and show it to you, they're selling it to you like they sell and market everything to you. And I think that when they come out, they won't be, this thing does 4K and it'll run your games better, or it will only run these games and the other systems are fucked, and your support doesn't matter to us. That won't be the messaging. The messaging will be, here's why this is exciting, here's why this is new, here's why this is a good thing. And I think people are so hung up on the message people are perceiving. Even me, when I'm talking about like the other side of the argument, the perceived message of, fuck your old shit, buy this new one, you already buy phones, why wouldn't you do this? We'll see how they market, how they sell it. But I mean, we don't really know what it does. We know about what we overheard a developer in line saying. We know that it's real to this extent.
Well, so there was an interesting post on NeoGAF that I didn't put in Roper's report, but it is from a user that is apparently independently verified as being a legit insider who knows things. he or she was saying that they were in a meeting about PS 4.5 and that they're talking about a $400 price point, maybe $500. Sony has not settled on the GPU apparently.
Yeah.
About the chipset might be more expensive than they think. And that there are specific games, apparently, according to this source, unsubstantiated, on my behalf. I mean, I have not substantiated it, but,
It's not your source.
that there are certain games that are going to show this off, and one of them is God of War. Oh yeah, so that was what the rumor was being said, was that one of the showcases could be the new God of War game that has not been announced yet.
Gotcha.
So we've been hearing rumblings from our sources about that new God of War game for a long time.
Long time, yeah.
So who knows when that's coming out, or what the nature of that game is, or if the rumor on NeoGAF is even true. But PS 4.5 sounds like a terrible idea to me. I hope I'm wrong. It seems like Microsoft is not going to do their own iteration of it. And I stand by that until I'm proven otherwise. It's not to say I'm not going to want it or like it, but I'm not really looking at it from my perspective. I'm trying to look at it from the consumer's general perspective. A single SKU, just one SKU, murdering.
Yeah. But I still don't think that 4.5 disqualifies that being the only SKU then. That's my
yeah, but then you buy the shitty... No, of course not. This doesn't disqualify from being the only SKU. But the other thing that we have to talk about is, so $400 or $500, which is what the rumor says, is going to cost at least $400, maybe $500. Then you're going to have a SKU that's way worse than that. It's not about the hard drive space anymore. Now it's about the innards of it. Mm-hmm. And so you're going to get like some bastardized PS4 basically, which is the original PS4, and the people that come in later are going to get the better PS4. It seems like a mess to me, man. Like,
we'll see. I mean, that's my big thing. I think that
we will see.
I don't think you're going to get... I think E3 will be the coming out party for the PlayStation 4.5 or whatever, and they'll make their case for it and explain what it means there and what it is.
Yeah, they better think very carefully about how they...
Kite's question, of how they're going to speak. I think it's totally let the ducks in a row. Right now with what they're doing and how it's being represented and all these different things, like, sure, let everybody continue to be upset about it and angry about something that they don't understand, that they don't know about, that no one's talked about officially, and then at PlayStation, or at PlayStation's E3 press conference, be able to come out and be like, well, this is what it is, this is why it's good, this is what it means. Now they have to hit all those points, otherwise then,
right.
it is.
And it's
just
also marketing speak. Like,
yeah.
You make a valid and fair point that we don't know anything firm about it yet.
Yeah.
But valid of a point as that may be, when you hear rumblings of things over time, so a lot of these things don't necessarily change if the sources are reliable, and I don't understand how. And I don't give a flying fuck what Sony says about it. It's going to be about I want to know what it is. I don't care what Sony says about it. You know, if that makes any sense. I want to know what it is, and then I'll make my own decision based on it. Because Sony, just like any other company, is going to spin it to make it something that's going to be interesting to the market. But I just want to know what it is. Once we know what it is and how it's going to play with games, and then I want to hear from developers. I want to hear, and I don't want to hear them on stage. I want to hear them talking candidly about, is this a thing that's good for them? Now they have to worry about this thing?
Yeah.
Like, I don't... All right.
Yeah.
And then are we going to get like a Nintendo DSi situation where they're just going to just be games on that PS 4.5? Now the source says that that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But I bet you it does.
I don't think it will.
Not this year. Not next year, but I bet you 2018, 2019, I bet you it does.
Interesting. We'll find out. It seems like we're talking about this thing to death every show.
Well, think about it though. Like, why have this? This is the fucking conundrum. Is why have the choice of making these really powerful games that are always going to be held back by the old hardware? Always, no matter 2020, 2021, making a PS4 game, still going to be held back by that 2013 hardware. I think my future will come to pass.
Okay.
My foreboding and.
Well, I think maybe eventually
Then you just make it a console. But I don't know, it's complicated. But you're right. That's very valid to say.
It is. Everybody's bent out of shape, I feel like, about not knowing what it is.
But that says a lot what you need to know. Everyone's bent out of shape about it.
Yeah, it's the internet. It's the internet talking about video games. They're always bent out of shape about something.
That's true, but think about... That's true, but not always. Everyone's excited about Uncharted. Seems like the Division's very well liked.
Well, no, they're not bent out of shape about everything announced. I mean, every time it seems like there's any kind of... I mean, there's every time something gets announced, people get bent out of shape about it in some way, shape, or form.
Right, but I don't know. We don't have to go down this road, but like Xbox, a lot of people were bent out of shape about Xbox One's announcement, all that kind of stuff, and the console and fundamentally changed because of that, because they were wrong. So,
or were they? We'll never know.
We'll never know. We have talked about that before.
Everybody got bitchy and crazy, and they did this, and now Xbox is firmly in second place, and everybody's like, fuck. They didn't believe in their vision. That's the problem. If Sony's going to do this, hopefully they believe in it.
Sure.
Maybe, and if they don't, and it is just if it's exactly what the worst case scenarios are, then they have to sit there and be like, we have to really rethink this and do that.
Yeah, my hope is that maybe they do it, but not now. Sit on it
for more years.
A couple more years. I mean, I would just wait. I would let the market speak, and go from there.
Okay. On that E3 trajectory, No Ram wrote in and said, "Hey guys, since we have no idea what Sucker Punch is up to, I was wondering what you'd like to see from them next. Do you want something completely new or another Infamous? If the answer is Infamous, do you want to see Delson return or a new character? Maybe have it tie back into the first games. Thanks. Bye."
I don't want Sucker Punch to work on Infamous, but I do want more Infamous. I think a second party can do Infamous.
I think it's time for Sucker Punch to do something new.
And I think they will. And
I hope they do.
They worked, with Sly and then with Infamous, it seems like they'll maybe work in threes. If I was at that studio for a long time and they do have a core team that has been there for a long time, I'd not want to work on Infamous anymore. Especially because I feel like Second Son wasn't... didn't seem like the labor of love that the Cole stories were to me. It seemed like it was like a showcase for PS4. It seemed like the gameplay was there. I feel like the story was kind of weak. I feel like it said to me that Infamous maybe doesn't have much more juice. No pun intended, I guess. Yeah. At that studio, but I do think Infamous as an IP can live on. I think that another studio can handle it.
Yeah, but whenever you do that, it's just like worry about it. Is it going to be something anybody cares about? Is it going to be worth it? You know what I mean? Look at because I think Jack and Daxter jumping to PSP, right? And granted, it's a PSP game, but still. It was like, this isn't the spirit of Jack and Daxter. This doesn't feel like a Jack and Daxter game. We've seen it. I mean, we talk about how we like Golden Abyss, but that definitely was the consumer reaction to Golden Abyss, right? That this isn't a real Uncharted game. When Naughty Dog talks about Uncharted and the trilogy and their franchise and this, that, and the other, like.
But I'd still say that if Ben's name wasn't on Golden Abyss, that no one would have any idea.
Sure,
Naughty Dog
that's a great point. Yeah, no, there's
so
definitely something.
It's the same thing with Killzone and
Batman
and
Arkham
Cambridge
Origins
and Arkham Origins, right? With WB Montreal, where. This is an optical issue more like there's nothing in Golden Abyss that says to me that this isn't a Naughty Dog game.
Yeah.
We know it's not. So we go with those preconceived notions and those biases.
Sure.
So I think that another team could capably with Sucker Punch's help do that.
I guess it has to be that they have to build from the ground up and not try to live in anybody's shadow.
Sure.
Because my references of Uncharted, Batman, Jack and Daxter, and Sly Cooper. You know what I mean? You're living up to something. You're part of this legacy. If it gets to be you're doing Infamous and it's a reboot, it's whatever. Like you're not using Cole, you're not using their cities, you're not using these different things. Maybe you get something out of it. But you could also go and just have another Second Son.
I mean, look what Sanzaro did with Sly 4.
Yeah,
that's a really great game.
Sure.
So it can go both ways. What Ben did with Resistance, even though it was a totally different game on a different platform. So I think that it can go both ways. I don't think you could just call it either way. You have to have the right team, the right feel, the right platform, the right writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a hard subject. It's a hard task.
Sucker Punch is sure as shit working on something that's not Infamous related.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope we find out about it soon.
I don't think we will, but maybe. I would say E3 next year.
Okay. We got a lot of E3 questions. Brandon Rosa says, "Hey, Greg and Colin. There are 75 days until E3 2016. What would be the crazier announcement? If Naughty Dog announced and teased The Last of Us 2 existing and being part of PSVR, or Sony announcing the PS4K, PS4.5 being announced with the same release date as PSVR this year."
It's the latter, I think, would be the big one. Because I still feel like there's a... Even though the Nikkei article, I think we talked about it a little bit last week, and everything indicated that they're having some supply problems and stuff like that, I still feel like the delay is serendipitous, if at the very least, in terms of getting the PS4.5K out to market, or PS4.5 or 4K, if that's what their plan is to do. So I don't. The Last of Us being a PSVR game would be stupid as shit, and Naughty Dog would never do that. And I would be shocked if Naughty Dog ever made a VR game. But
that's why it's the crazier announcement.
Yeah,
sure.
that is.
No way
I guess that is the
happen.
crazier announcement. But that's so crazy that it's like the
yeah.
other one's actually realistic.
Yeah,
it's crazy,
yeah.
but it's realistic. I
can totally see that. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I want Naughty Dog to do what Naughty Dog wants to do. If they want to make Last of Us 2 and they want to make it a VR game, okay. That's a hard sell for me in terms of what I think of when I think of The Last of Us.
Yeah, there's no way they do.
But if that's what you want to do, I trust that Naughty Dog has a vision for what they're about to set out on. But that's just insane. That won't happen.
The Last of Us 2 is definitely going to happen. I think we're really jumping the gun. I think, again, that's probably a next year showing at E3 game. I think that might even be too soon.
Yeah.
because you have to assume that they're in pre-production on it, but and maybe even working on it in some way. I mean, Uncharted's gold now, so it's time for that team to move on to some of that team to move on to DLC and multiplayer support, and then the rest of the team to take a lot of time off, and then post crunch kind of come back and figure out what they're going to do next. So The Last of Us 2 is going to happen. I mean,
of course,
we all know that.
Yeah. Final question for reader mail comes from Hudas. Hudas says, using your Vita. What's up, Colin and Greg? Longtime fan. Question. How often do you find yourself playing your Vita per week? Greg always mentions that he saves games he's excited for to play it on the Vita when he travels. Volume, XCOM, other cross-buy titles. Colin has talked about dabbling in Saturday morning RPG and A Boy and His Blob. I have been a longtime Vita owner, 2012, but I find myself not playing it nearly as much over the last year and prefer spending my time and gaming experiences on the PlayStation 4/big screen. Since you no longer commute to work, how often do you turn your Vita on at home to play it? Thanks, Hudas!
I mean, my experience with Vita since 2011 has been anywhere between 0 and 50 hours, I would say. And
a week?
A week. And it is contingent a little bit on travel, but sometimes it isn't. For instance, when Danganronpa came out, I played the shit out of both of those games in my bed. Now, we weren't traveling at that time. Even when another episode came out, I played that in my bed. Saturday morning RPG, I played in my bed. I actually feel like Vita's... When I played A Boy and His Blob, I was in San Diego, but I was playing it in San Diego, not even on the trip. I was just playing it.
Yeah.
So, my Vita is always that thing that's like kind of it's like why we have cable television. It's because like we like to know it's there.
Yeah.
And so I bring my Vita with me, but half the time I'm traveling on Vita, like I don't even touch it at all. Like actually probably more than half the time. I feel like I play it in fact more when I'm just at home or in a home setting as opposed to like on an airplane or in a car or at an airport or something.
Yeah.
Like that. I mean, it's there and I like to know it's there, but then I'm just on my phone or I'm...
Yeah, for me, I mean, there's no set schedule to it at all. Like, what he makes a great point. When we commuted to work every day, yeah, I played my Vita every day. I jump into Minecraft, I do this, I'm playing Freedom Wars. But nowadays, yeah, it's more what game do I want to play. It's not, do I want to play the PlayStation 4, do I want to play the Vita? It's, do I want to sit down and play Saturday Morning RPG, or do I want to sit down and play Division? Do I, you know, what's calling me? And I think the reason my Vita gets so much travel time is that one of those options is removed. You know what I mean? Unless I want to bring the PlayStation 4, I have the Vita with me. And again, yeah, it is. Or I'm going to play something on this plane ride, or I'm going to play something waiting for the plane, and then I'm at my hotel room, and I suddenly have an hour or two to kill. Then yeah, I'm going to play something there. I'm going to get into that because you know, video games are my preferred way of relaxing, my preferred entertainment. I'm more inclined to turn on the PlayStation Vita than I am to turn on the TV. And so that's when I get into those experiences, and that's why I save experiences, and why I'm still chipping away at volume, and while I'll chip away at XCOM, I'm sure, for a long time. Get ready for Axiom Verge.
Yeah, I mean, tonight when we're done here, I'm going to go eat and then go back to the hotel room and probably fall asleep. But if not, I want to play, like, you know, think about Hitman Go, think about even Foul Play. So, yeah, I mean, it's a valid question. I feel the beauty of the Vita is you have the option. You have options.
Right.
As opposed to consoles, which are tethered to televisions.
Exactly.
There's anything wrong with that, of course.
No. Colin?
Yes.
Time to find out who the best friend is this week. Remember, we have a segment called P.S. I Love This Best Friend XOXO. This is where you head to kindoffunny.com/forums, go to the P.S. I Love You XOXO board, and submit your PSN username so you can find people to play with. This comes from Big B Con. Big B Con says, "Hey best friends, longtime Colin and Greg /kindafunny fan and lifelong gamer. PS4 is hugely popular, as is console gaming in general right now, but for some reason all my friends refuse to make the jump. They are all avid PC gaming nerds and scoff at all things console gaming. Would be awesome to get that PS I Love This Best Friend shout out, and more importantly, connect with some new people with similar interests, i.e. all things PlayStation. Big B Con, but his PSN name is Con316, Kahn 316. Psst. It's a reference to Fei Fong Wong's father in Xenogears, as I'm sure you knew. You picked up on that, right?
Oh, I picked up on that reference. It's been almost 20 years.
We should get Xenogears expert Nick Scarpino in here to tell you a little bit about it.
Oh, he loves Xenogears. He loves himself a good old late 90s Square Enix RPG.
Colin?
It's actually Squaresoft.
What is this week's Forgotten PlayStation game?
You know, I was thinking about this, and last week I was going to say something different, but this week, and then we interrupted to let a reader or viewer or whatever listener in.
Whatever, a consumer of the content of Kind of Funny.
And I want to talk about Strider, the re-release that came out close to PS4's launch. I feel like it was in early 2014. We were at IGN still. And I felt like this game was underrated. I feel like when I played this game, what I found was it was fluid and it was fast. The 2.5D kind of stuff's a little disconcerting. The difficulty is low, which is disappointing, especially by Strider standards. But I really found this to be a very unique and very heartfelt reimagining of what Strider could be. And I felt like people liked it. It was like considered like okay or good, but I think it was like a great game. Really vast map, a lot of backtracking, very Metroidvania style, Symphony of the Night or Super Metroid kind of picking up power-ups and supplies and all these kinds of things. So I want to give a shout out to that game. As far as I know, it's on PS3 and PS4, as well as 360 and Xbox One, I believe, so you can play it anywhere you want, and PC probably too. But I think that game was kind of overlooked. And I don't know if it was because of the lukewarm, or I don't want to say lukewarm, but the kind of average reception critically, whether it was because it came out at a bad time, whether it was because Strider just doesn't have a lot of resonance anymore as an IP, which might be the case because I think Strider has always kind of been second fiddle to something like Ninja Gaiden. But Strider has its own place in our history, going back to the NES, of course, and I feel like that particular side-scrolling Metroidvania 2.5D game was a lot of fun. It doesn't challenge you an extraordinary amount, but it is a good experience, and it can probably be had for a pretty affordable price. So I want to give a shout out to Strider.
Strider, everybody. Would you like to know the PSN's worst name of the week, Colin?
Sure, I would.
This one comes from Nathan. Nathan writes in, just like you can, the Kind of Funny forums. Go there. Pop up your worst PSN name. Remember, it's got to be your bad PSN name. I don't want somebody who played in Rocket League. Nathan says, "Hey Colin and Greg, my worst PSN name of the week story is one of mistaken identities. I wasn't the most creative of youngsters, so when I got my PS3 on my 16th birthday, I was stumped for a name to have. I thought while I went to go get pizza for dinner. In desperation, I settled on the name of the pizza place in my birthday and ended up with Papa John 1706.
Oh my god.
Papa John 1706.
That's awful.
Now, while this isn't a particularly bad name, it has led to a lot of annoyance over the years, as my name is Nathan, and people online always call me John, even people I know in real life, or they've made jokes about how I must be fat. I no longer play online, as it's just easier to play alone than to explain my story. Please, Shuhei, let us change our names. Nathan, parentheses, not John."
Papa John 1706?
Yeah.
That's pretty bad. That's not offensive.
Yeah, no,
like
it's not the
vulgar.
normal
That's just
ones.
Bad.
That's just a bad name. That was a
that's
dumb thing to
bad
do.
Fucking name.
Don't do that. Don't be Papa John's, everybody. Be yourself. Don't worry about it. But Shuhei, let Nathan change his name. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a very special episode of P.S. I Love You XOXO on location here at Rooster Teeth, of course. Thank them for letting us use their space. Remember, it's up to you, ladies and gentlemen, now to go to kindoffunnylive.com or kindoffunny.com/tickets to get your Kind of Funny Live tickets. Remember, the Uncharted 4 Let's Play is up. And remember, this has been P.S. I Love You XOXO, the #1 PlayStation podcast in the world. Kindoffunny.com's PlayStation podcast. So go there, subscribe to the channels, watch all the other shows, download all the other MP3s. This one goes live 9 a.m. Tuesdays Pacific time, each and every time. YouTube.com/kindoffunnygames. MP3 players around the world.
All right.
Services around the globe.
That's a.
You're finally going to go eat and sleep, Colin? You excited?
I am so excited, and then I'll get back to the hotel room and I won't sleep until 3 in the morning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
and then tomorrow just tell me how tired you are.
Yeah, of course.
All right,
yeah,
great.
It'll be a good trip for both of us.
Every episode of P.S. I Love You XOXO ends in a song in a segment we call Singing to Shuhei. You can go submit your song if you're one of these crazy artists at kindoffunny.com/PSM. Remember, give me a YouTube link so I can annotate to you at the end of the video, and an MP3 so I can play the MP3 at the end of our MP3.
What the fuck did you just say?
You know that made sense. That made sense.
It was a pretty excessive use of the term MP3.
It makes sense to them, and they know. This is the 30th episode of this. They understand what's
I'm
happening.
tired.
This one is
I'm
another.
so tired.
This is
If you
another
didn't know.
repeat artist here for Singing the Shuhei. Tack Track's back.
Oh, okay.
Tack Track says, "Introspection in the world stage is the topic of this song off the new EP Delivery, available on iTunes, Spotify, Apple Music, and more. This song is called State of Affairs. Please subscribe to me on youtube.com/TackTrack, TackTrack, and follow me on Twitter, TackTrack, and at TackTrack on other social networks. Please don't forget to check out TackTrackMusic.com. Enjoy. Tack Track, of course, longtime supporter of us over on Patreon, put out this new album, Delivery. We're happy to close out this month with this song, State of Affairs. Until next time,
this month.
it's been our pleasure to serve you. Yeah, it doesn't make sense, but we started the month of
No, it doesn't make
March
Yeah.
with a Tack Track song.
And now
We're ending it, yeah, but it's like we're bookending that month of shows.
All right.
It really doesn't make sense, but you understand what I'm driving at here.
Now that you
Fucking
explain
listen,
it.
listen to Tack Track, everybody. That's all you gotta do.
Bye.